Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm your host, Locke. As always, you can follow me on X at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on X. You can also check us out at E5280 Sports. That's E5280 Sports. And today on the Lock It Down Sports show, this week that was of college football, the ABS system is coming. UT, Mississippi State, Georgia, Alabama. And I want to start with the Mississippi State Tennessee game. And the phrase goes survive and advance. Like that's really what it was. You get out of Starkville with a win. We got out of there, we got the dub, we're done. Offense looked okay. Didn't look as in sync, as connected as the Georgia game. Definitely missed some plays. Missed plays. Dropped 69-yard touchdown passes from Matthews. Seems like there was some communication issues on offense with Aguilar and his receiving core. So I don't know the issues with that. They're halfway into the season now. You should be in sync for the most part of what you're doing, where you're going. Offense only scored 10 points before half. That kind of surprised me with how explosive they were against Georgia, especially with how good I think Heupel is at scripting plays. I think he's one of the best. So that surprised me a little bit. Obviously, the defense played, we'll get to that in a bit, good and bad at times. I think one thing that did concern me was how gashed they got by the run. Mississippi State, gashing yardage, big chunks of yardage on the ground. Same thing in the Georgia game. Georgia got gashes and big rushing yards as well. Ty Redmond has not been as bad, wasn't as bad in the Mississippi State game. Yes, I get it. I know there's growing pains. There's going to be growing pains. True freshman shouldn't be out there. Wasn't supposed to be out there. Didn't expect to be out there. Of course, it's going to help him in the future. Obviously, getting this much playing time against these caliber schools and opponents this early in his career. Obviously, all the Georgia game. Solid team in Mississippi State. Played a decent amount against Syracuse as well, but still, it's a power 4 opponent. It's not a start against the UABs of the world, who obviously they took care of 2 weeks ago. Like I said, once again, the offense have had trouble in the third quarter as well. Couldn't score touchdowns. Interceptions, although those were not Aguilar's fault at all. Kinzelman should have caught it. Tips off the fingers. And then the other one as well. Once again, Aguilar played great. Both INTs, not his fault. 2 for 335. Had a touchdown, big throws. Once again, great play by Joey Aguilar. I mentioned the defense, and I want to get to it here. The defense was good at times, not good at times. They were able to sack the quarterback and get pressures as well. So it had its moments and it made its plays, obviously, when it needed to in the fourth quarter and then in overtime as well. Once again, they had 5 sacks in this game, 4 sacks in the Georgia game, 11 tackles for loss. And then this is what really won them the game, the 2 defensive touchdowns. With the pick 6 from Hood and then the sack scoop touchdown by West with the sack. fumble, and then Josiah with the scoop score touchdown. And why I say Tennessee's defense wasn't all bad. I mean, three of Mississippi State's touchdown drives were 20, 26, and 17-yard drives. So that's tough. I mean, when you didn't even have to go 3 first downs for any of the drives, that's very, very much manageable and ideal, and what you would like. So 3 short drives for Mississippi State. So the defense had, they're short fields to work with. Mississippi State, once again, like I said in the Georgia game, had 198 yards. Georgia had 198 yards on the ground. Something has to get fixed a little bit, on the defensive end rushing attack. Yeah, 2 good teams, one better than the other, but much improved Mississippi State team. We'll see what they do against Texas A&M this coming week. Is Mississippi State and how they play against A&M, which I don't think is going to be an easy game for A&M at all. Tough Mississippi State team. But what I said from the jump, Tennessee did enough to win, and that's big, and that's what matters. They did enough to win. And that's a game I feel like in the past, Tennessee would have lost. South Carolina in 2022. No business Tennessee getting blown out in that game. The Florida game in 23 in the Swamp. Not a good Florida team. A bad Florida team. Tennessee lost. And then the Arkansas game last year. No business losing to Arkansas. That wasn't a very good Arkansas team. And that game's coming off a bye. So those 3 right there should not have been losses. Could have very well been Mississippi State in the 2025 game. Thankfully, it wasn't. You go into Mississippi State on the road. Granted, looked like there's a lot of orange in that stadium. A lot of orange in that stadium. So that helped for sure. So it wasn't all cowbells. But still, it's a road win. And his first true road SEC game. He had his first true SEC game at home against Georgia in Aguilar. Yeah, he's played a lot. I know at Mississippi at App State. I get it. But first true road game. I can't say that it's going to prepare him for Tuscaloosa. It's not. It's going to be louder there, more ruckus crowd. But hey, it's a road game. Hostile crowd-ish, hostile crowd, and he pulled it out, which is big. Very important win that Tennessee couldn't lose that game. Because they still got Oklahoma. They still got Alabama on the docket. They got Florida, which still scares me in the Swamp. Even though Florida is not a good team, they've got a good defense. That's another one of those games, that 2023 game, that as well as that 2025 game this year against Florida in the Swamp. Not a good Florida team now, just like not a good Florida team in 2023. But it's on the road in the Swamp. And sometimes Tennessee and Florida, stuff just doesn't make sense. Now, was another great game was Georgia-Alabama. Alabama did what they wanted. Offensively, long drives that resulted in touchdowns. Moved the ball. Looked really good. I felt like offensively, Alabama looked a lot like Tennessee facing Georgia, where we're going to go on a 15-play drive. We're going to march down the field, take time off the clock, and score. All right, well, that's what happened. Very much in the same vein there as well of we do what we want, we drive down the field, we score. And that quarterback, Ty Sampson, impressive. He's looked good. I was talking with a buddy. Yeah, I saw some of the Florida State game, but I was watching them against Wisconsin. Granted, it's Wisconsin. We see where they're at this year, but it's like, oh, he looked really good at Wisconsin. Against Wisconsin, you're like, all right, well, okay. And then obviously we saw what he did against Georgia. You're like, this guy can play. Alabama's got a quarterback that can play. And once again, he had a clean pocket. Clean pocket to do what he wanted, just like Tennessee and Aguilar did, where Georgia couldn't get to the quarterback, couldn't put any pressure. Georgia, I feel like, was been able to hang around in that first half and not get blown out. Kind of, they're there. Alabama's dominated, but they're still they're there. I mean, they were able to run the ball against Alabama, just like the Tennessee game. They had 220 total in the Alabama game. Like I said, on the field, Alabama dominated, but interesting enough, looking at the numbers, it was closer than you thought. I thought a very intriguing point. I guess you can say the hindsight's 2020, but the fourth down call that Kirby went for, it was like a chip shot field goal. You take the points, that ties it up. Instead, he goes for it, doesn't get it. Like, two things went through my mind in that situation. First off, that could be your last drive, and you get the ball back, and you don't get the ball back, and you decide not to tie it up. So, chip shot field goal. I could decide the game or be the last time you get the ball and you don't take it. Okay. My other thought is, I wonder if he was thinking about the Tennessee game, where him settling for field goals should have cost him the Tennessee game. They should have lost that game. We don't need to go over that game again. But I think they settled for 3 field goals in the Tennessee game, and it should have cost them the game. Tennessee was hitting touchdowns. Georgia was settling for field goals in the Tennessee Georgia game. So Kirby's like, I can't settle for field goals anymore. I should have lost 2 weeks ago, but we were able to get by because Tennessee missed that kick, So that's, I think that, I wonder if that had something to do with it as well. So I don't know. That was two thoughts I had as well in that game. To me, it's also it really is amazing how Georgia just seems like they can't get past this middle block against Alabama. Because to me, Alabama's still a good team. They're just not Nick Saban dominant. And this is 2 years in a row they've lost to the Boar in Alabama. So it's tough to swallow for Alabama, for Georgia, where it's like this middle block where they can't get over. Like, they don't know how to play football. They forget. And it's like, what's going on? So it's still a lot of SEC battles to go as this conference schedule continues, with LSU 1 loss, Tennessee 1 loss, Ole Miss undefeated, Oklahoma undefeated, Texas undefeated, Georgia got a loss, A&M undefeated. Now, once again, of course, a lot of that's going to get settled out in conference play, with LSU playing still Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Tennessee still got Oklahoma and Alabama. Texas has still got A&M and Oklahoma. Alabama still got Auburn and Tennessee with one overall loss, no conference losses. So there's obviously still a lot to get sorted out in the realm of college football. And speaking of Texas A&M, I want to bounce around college football in the league a little bit as a whole. That was not a pretty game against Auburn. Teams did not look good at all. I mean, sloppy, ugly, was not pretty, could not put Auburn away, who's offensively challenged, shall we say, as Auburn had -4 offensive yards in the fourth quarter. And yet they were in a position, a chance to win the game. As bad offensively as Auburn was, defensively is how good they were. Auburn was defensively. I mean, only one touchdown was scored, and only scored one touchdown in the game. So good team. And it was at home. It was in College Station. I mean, they've still got LSU, Missouri, who's looked tough, and Texas on their bout. So once again, like I said, a lot of football left. Ole Miss over LSU, big win for Lane Kiffin, and it really starts his stretch. Ole Miss's stretches. They've got Georgia, Oklahoma, and then Mississippi State, of course, and then it could be a tricky South Carolina team there's a lot of hype around them, but they've struggled. So big win for the Rebels, and still a lot to play for LSU as well, with one conference loss. Once again, it's still there's a lot of football left in the SEC conference, which there is without a doubt. Now, another fun one. So this was tricky, switching back and forth between Georgia, Alabama, and then Penn State, Oregon. Fun back and forth game. Oregon wins in overtime. And the good thing about Oregon, their schedule's done. I mean, their hardest game is over with. Yeah, they've got Indiana. How good's Indiana? I think it's just like last year. They're, paper tiger. But here's one of the things I did love about Oregon and Dan Lanning and how he handled it. And this I'm talking about. This is on-field post game. When asked about what this statement means for this program, and he kind of looks, I thought, at the on-field reporter, and he goes, "Yeah, we're on the next game," and I like that. I do, meaning like, look, we're Oregon. Yeah, so what? It's on the road at Penn State with their whiteout and all that. But at the end of the day, we're Oregon. We're supposed to win. It's not that big of a deal, not that big of a game. Yeah, it's a big one because it's on the road against a top 10 team. But you know what? We're also a top 10 program too. We're Oregon. We expect to be here. We expect to be in the playoff. Yeah, it's just part of who we are at Oregon, which I liked. He's just like, yeah, you know what? We're good. We're a good football team. And we showed it out here at a tough environment on the road in Happy Valley. Yeah, we're cool. Which I did like that. And per usual, Oregon's look good. They don't have Ohio State on the schedule this year. They've got a Indiana team. Indiana. And then probably Southern Cal is their next toughest game. So they could be undefeated going into a conference title game against probably Ohio State. But, we'll see now. Yeah, I know playoff baseball is going on, but there's just so much to get to. And I talked about this, about what it would look like, but it is official now as ABS starts in 2026 for the Major League Baseball season. So that's the automatic strike zone. And here's the rules for it. Each team will get 2 challenges, and they keep them if they're successful. Challenges can only be initiated by a pitcher, catcher, or batter, and the request must come right after the pitch. To signal a challenge, the pitcher, catcher, or batter will tap their helmet or let the umpire know. No help from the dugout or other players on the field. And then in extra innings, a team will be allowed a challenge if it has none remaining entering that inning. Pretty standard, pretty cut for point blank of what we saw in spring training and how it was handled and the overall outlook of the system. Interesting enough, 23 teams were in favor of ABS and 7 opposed it. 2 questions. Who are the 7 teams? Why do they oppose it? Do you like the human element? Do they feel like their pitchers get the benefit of the doubt with the calls? I don't know. I'm kind of curious on that end of who it is, where it is, the reasoning for why they support the umpire making the calls. They don't want to show up the umpire when it could be the difference of you winning and losing the ball game. That's the big thing. Pitch could completely change the outcome of a game because a 1-1 count becomes a 1-2 count or a 2-1 count. That's a big deal. Pitch selection, pitch change of, okay, it's 2-1. Now I don't want to go 3-1. Let me get a pitch. Maybe I'll leave a little bit over the plate to gapper. It's a home run, things like that. Where it's 1-2, now crap, as the batter, I got to protect. I got to foul off. That little one maybe off the plate, it's a strike. Or I've got to protect more. So there's a lot. I think that there's a big difference. That there's a lot that can change and influence these decisions. I think it's going to be good for baseball about what's coming ABS. It'll be an adjustment for sure, but I think it's a good change that's coming for Major League Baseball. So yeah, that's a good thing that's coming to Major League Baseball next year, to see how teams adapt, how pitchers, if anything really how much really changes. So that's going to be fun to watch and see how it evolves and takes place. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. And also check us out at E5280 Sports. That's E5280 Sports. I'm Locke Hoover. You missed the Lock It Down Sports. I'll talk to you next week.